Hello, it's 2025. My name's Yorkshire Chris. I grow exotic plants in my exotic garden here in the snow. As you can see, it's been snowing and it's still snowing and it's rather deep. See, the palm trees are covered, the bamboo's covered, and actually it's blocking the way through, but we'll try to get through as much as we can. Just to show the rest of the garden. But here, we're going to have to duck very low to get under here. Try my best. Under the bamboo. Try not to get the camera covered in snow. There we go. Through. Completely winter wonderland here. Looks beautiful. Actually, it's quite thick snow. It's probably insulating the plants pretty well. The bamboos, yeah, it's covering everything. Tree ferns under there. And I'm a bit stuck here. Got bamboo all around me. Gonna have to just push through this bamboo, I think. So let's just get through. Whoa. Right, that's that part done. See, the bamboo hedge is all fallen down here as well. And then we've got, if you look behind, you can see the Berinda papyrifera bamboo splayed everywhere, covering the garden, blocking all this part. It is pretty deep. We'll get the old measuring stick out and we'll have a see how deep this is. But for now, we'll work out how to get through the garden. I am standing on everything. And see how that loquat tree is completely bent over. Might actually be damaged completely. It seems to have tipped over. Cheflair is here though. That's looking fine. Yes, it's covered in snow, but that won't be a massive issue for it. We'll bounce back, and then we'll walk onto the bridge. In fact, before we do, we can see how deep the snow is in this part of the garden. You can see down here the edge, and that's a good 10-15 centimeters of snow. Let's go through. Try to get through this grass. This is harder than I thought. Let's go under here. And then we're at the pond. And we can see the waters of the ice over. The palm trees are bent over, and this is where it can cause more damage. As if the leaves and all heavy snow breaks the leaves. Obviously that damages the leaf, it snaps it, means the leaf will die. It can do more damage than the actual cold and the frost. So it's a toss-up between taking those off, taking the snow off, and stopping the leaves snapping, or leaving it on for insulation for the cold nights that will probably follow. In front of us, you've got the Trabea chilensis, looking rather sorry for itself. Got the new sphere at the top, but it's covered in snow there, and it is pretty deep down here. First steps in the garden, through the snow. It's first light. Let's just guess where the paths are. And you can see a palm like this one here. This is a Echimerops cerifera, completely covered in snow, but that's fine there. It's hunkered down, and that'll be totally fine. Got the linearis there. And then, oh, look at that. I need to sort this out. Look at the snow on my shelter. It's weighing it down. The agaves underneath are totally fine. Under there. But that shelter looks like it's got a lot of weight on it, so I need to sort that out. The bryomatas underneath the bamboo. The bamboos are completely covering that part of the garden, so I can't do anything about that. And if we look up, not down, if we look up, there we've got the huge eucalyptus trees. Again, covered in snow, so we might get the odd branch snapping. This is very heavy snow, heavier than I thought at first. So we're going to have to watch that. That is an issue. We've got the Paxonia over there, Yucca. Got the, in the distance up there, we've got the cordline, which is totally fine. But this heavy snow, it causes more mechanical damage than anything else. So I'll just wander back to the house now. I think it's time to go in, warm up, dry off, and have a look at the new seeds that have arrived that I'll be planting this year. So we're back inside in the warm now, and it's time to have a look at the seeds that I'm going to be growing this year in my garden. And we are making some changes because yes, we're going to continue with tropical flowers and foliage in the garden from seed, but also I'll be growing quite a lot of vegetables as well, mainly tropical style vegetables. So let's have a look at the seeds. So these have arrived from Chiltern Seeds. I've not opened them yet, so we'll just do that now and see what we have got. Okay, so first one is a courgette. So it's called squash balls, and this should be a nice round courgette, something a little bit different in the garden. I'm growing courgettes because they are tropical plants. They need warm temperatures to grow well. They don't like the frost, and I love courgettes. I love using them in curries and things like that. So courgettes will be great to have in the garden. The next one is melon. So melon, difficult to grow in the UK. I've grown melon once before, so it's only the second time I'm growing melon, and this time I'll be growing one called Alvaro F1 hybrid. So we'll see how that one goes, and we'll be growing that in the greenhouse. It's got that added warmth to keep it growing all summer long, even if the temperatures outside aren't too great. So that is definitely a tender annual, and we'll see if we can get some nice ripe melons by the end of the year. The next one is a cucumber, and this one's called Baby Mini Munch, and this is one I've actually seen growing well, I think, up in Scotland on Beechgrove Gardens. So hopefully much further south than that garden we should get lots of nice cucumbers, and I'll be growing this outdoors as well as indoors as well in the greenhouse. So we'll see how that compares indoors and outdoors. The next one, I think all the vegetable seeds have come in one little package, because the next one is a nice sweet pepper called Hamik. So that'd be a nice, I think that's an orange pepper. So I love peppers, and they are, well, I've grown them quite a few times before. I don't normally get lots of fruit on them, so we'll see how we go with Hamik, see if we get lots of nice sweet capsicum peppers on that one. Spinach, fantastic plant for pretty much, well, in salads and in curries and things like that. So loads of spinach seeds, grown that lots of times before, nice and easy to grow, grows quick. And this one's called Medania, so we'll see how that one goes in the garden. I'll grow it in pots as well, and also in the ground. And finally, something a little bit different is a beef tomato, and this one's called Gigantomo, so it should be a huge growing tomato, apparently up to 1 kilogram in weight, so potentially an absolutely enormous tomato. So this is a bit of a novelty, something different to try. I'll be growing some regular tomatoes as well in the greenhouse, as well as this beef tomato. Now that's the vegetables. Now on to the second packet, and we'll see, hopefully we've got some nice packets of seeds in here. And as you can see, there's plenty of packets to talk about. I spent, I think, on seeds in total, this is £50 worth of seeds. So the first one of the non-edible plants that we'll be growing is a Californian Poppy, and this is called Red Chief. So this should be a red flowered annual poppy, and this will be grown throughout the sort of desert arid part of the garden for that sort of summer colour, big flush of red orange flowers, and that will be sown directly in the ground. not a lot of luck the last few years with Californian poppies, so fingers crossed the seeds do well this year and we get some nice flowers later on in the summer. And another plant I've not grown for 2 or 3 years is the sunflower, which is Helianthus annuus, and this one's called Ring of Fire. And this is a nice sort of tall growing sunflower. I think it's a bicolour as well, so beautiful daisy-like flowers on that one. The next one is quite a mouthful to pronounce. I'll just try that now. It is Kochia, scoparia variety Chrysophylla, summer cypress burning bush. So this is a bit of a novelty. This is new to me, and it should be a very colourful small shrub, hardy annual it's classed as. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be sown outdoors in sort of April, May time. Should grow pretty quickly over summer, and then in the autumn should go a bright reddish pinkish colour, and that'll be about sort of 60-70 centimetres tall and wide. So we'll see how that goes. If you've grown the summer cypress burning bush before, I'd like to know how it's grown for you. If you could leave a comment below in the video, and I can see what I can expect to grow with this plant in my garden. Another colourful annual, this time with the flowers, is a tobacco flower, and this is a Mojito tobacco plant. It's not one I've grown before, but I've grown plenty of tobacco plants before. And also we've got the tall one, Only the Lonely. So we've got 2 types of tobacco plants will grow as annuals. They get so many seeds normally, and they grow very, very well in the garden. No need to mollycoddle them inside. They grow great from either direct sowing or from modules and planted out if you want some early established plants sort of in early summer. Still plenty more seeds. We've got Tonia, and this one's called Fiesta del Sol. And this is, again, the Mexican sunflower. And this one is a different variety. First time I've grown this variety, so it will have slightly different flowers. Hopefully not as tall as some of the ones we have before, because although it's meant to be sort of 1.5 meters tall at most, when I've grown it, they've grown over 2 meters tall. So lots of nutrition in my ground. So they grow very foliage heavy, and then the flowers are quite high up. So hopefully this one isn't quite as tall and get to enjoy those flowers at a shorter height. Zinnias, fantastic flowers, fantastic doers, that tropical colour throughout the garden. Very, very easy from seed, provided they don't get eaten by slugs or snails when they're very small. And this is Zinnia State Fair, so lots of different colours in the garden to try, and this will be mixed throughout the borders. And we've also got another Zinnia. This is Purple Prince, so one colour of this one, very strong purple colour. Grown this one before and I really like it, so they've grown it again in the garden. And finally, that's the end of the foliage and the flowers for the tropical annual garden. We've got 2 more edibles which we'll just put at the end of this selection. We've got a squash, and this one is Marina de Choia, which I believe is an Italian variety, and this is very sort of puckered, sort of pimply skin. So this will be very interesting, very ornamental squash, as well as tasting good. Hopefully it will look really good for autumn displays. And it's not a squash I've grown before. I've grown many squashes before. Sometimes it can struggle to ripen them, but hopefully this is one that will ripen well if we have a good summer up here in Yorkshire. And finally, another courgette. I know courgette plants, you get loads of courgettes, but this one's a little bit different. It's called Shooting Star, and this one is a climbing courgette with yellow fruit. So hopefully we'll get lots and lots of nice, interesting yellow fruit on this courgette plant, and this can be intermingled in the ornamental garden rather than just in a vegetable patch, climbing through other plants, or if I put structures through with bamboo canes, I can climb up there, and then it'll look really sort of exotic, hopefully mixed in with the ornamental plants. And that is something I'm going to do this year. I'm going to mix in vegetables and ornamentals throughout the garden, so it will be a bit different this year, and we'll do another video about the changes I'm expected to do this year in the garden coming up in the next few weeks. But that's just a quick, very quick glance at the seeds I'll be growing this year. I'll probably end up buying some more seeds as well. And talking about buying things, I still need to do my video of how much I spent in a year. So I'll be putting that together from how much I spent from January to December 2024, and we can see how close people got to their guesses of how much I actually spent in the garden. So that's coming up soon. So we've had some snow today, we've looked at some seeds, and I think that's enough for one episode. Join me next week where hopefully it won't be snowing and I'll be out there doing more in the garden. In the snow. That's where exotic plants really want to be, covered in snow and freezing. Right, it's time to go in.